Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Udayan Gautam. In our series of video lectures on NBA accreditation for diploma engineering programs, today we are here with the calculation of attainments. In this video, we shall learn about the CO attainment calculation process. So before moving on to the calculation itself, we need to understand what an attainment is. As written over there, attainment puts forth the measurability of the course accomplishments at the end of each course and at the end of each or at the end of the entire program. As I have already said in my previous videos, that outcome-based education is largely based on the measurement, the measurability, the figurative reflection of performances of the students or their achievements or accomplishments are very important. Therefore, attainment or the calculation of the same is the process by which we can mathematically prove that our students are progressing or not. Therefore, attainment, it gives us the scope of the continuous improvement. Whether the continuous improvement is taking place in the program or not can be understood by comparing the figures of the current year and the previous years. Attainment is generated from the assessment tools used throughout the program. So that means for calculation of the attainments, first of all, we need to understand what are the assessment tools we are using for understanding or for measuring the students' performances. A course teacher has to compute two types of attainments: attainment of course outcomes at the end of the course and attainment of program outcomes after a learner goes through the entire curriculum. So a teacher has a responsibility of conducting or deducting two types of attainments. One is CO attainment and the other is PO attainment. In this video, we shall focus on the calculation of course outcome attainments or the CO attainments only. In our next video, we shall discuss about the program outcome attainments. So the process of attainment calculation is complex, but it is not difficult. Understanding the assessment procedure at large is crucial. It means that what are the process by which we are measuring the student's performance is important. So for this, we need to understand the particular perspective from which NBA prescribes the assessment procedure. It has been described here. From the perspective of NBA, an assessment should be direct and indirect. That means whatever be our traditional examination system or the examination system prescribed by the concerned university, board or council, we must actually focus on both sorts of attainment. One is direct and the other is indirect. Direct assessment means the traditional assessment system, that is the assessment procedures prescribed by the concerned university or council or the state board. Indirect assessment is conducted by the program people, by the particular program, and indirect assessment if we can compare the weightage that is given on the direct attainment assessment process is 80%, and for indirect assessment 20% weightage has been given. So this attainment assessment process for calculation of attainment is very important once again. The indirect assessment is conducted by two procedures. After each course, we conduct course end surveys for generating the indirect attainment of the COs. And after each program, that is the 3-year long study, we conduct program end survey for generating the indirect attainment of the program outcomes. Direct attainment of the program or the COs, they can be generated from the traditional examination system. So understanding and formulation of levels of attainment is also very important in the initial stage, because what are the levels of attainment has to be said in the beginning of every course or every semester or every year of study. NBA has prescribed three types of attainment, three levels of attainment. Level 1, which is the lowest level, level 2, and level 3, which is the highest level. Now, what are the parameters of these levels? The program people or the departmental advisory board has to calculate or has to formulate a particular parameters for ascertaining their levels. For direct assessment, which has 80% weightage, in it we include the internal assessment and the end semester examination, which is conducted by the concerned board or council of the university. So levels are to be formulated by the departmental people or the departmental advisory board. NBA has prescribed some guidelines, but they did not emphasize on any particular rule that has been stipulated. So the program people or the concerned departmental advisory board can formulate their own levels after studying the previous year's marks, after analyzing the students' performance as per their own perspective and perception. So, for example, we have written that for internal assessment, level 1 is 50% students getting equal or more than 50% marks. Level 2 is 60% of students getting equal or more than 50% marks. And level 3 is 70% of the students getting equal or more than 50% marks. For the end semester examinations, the same formula has been used. That is level 1, 50% of students getting equal or more than 50% marks. Level 2 is 60% of students getting equal or more than 50% marks. And level 3 is 70% of the students getting equal or more than 50% marks. For course end survey, the similar formula has also been used. So once again, these levels are to be formulated by means of meetings, minutes and resolutions in the departmental advisory board, that what would be the parameters for measuring the students' performances, what would be the parameters that will govern the levels. So attainment of course outcomes, it has some prerequisites. First of all, the questions should be based on the COs. I am talking about the internal examinations, because the external examination or the end semester examination for some states are conducted centralized, either by a university or by the concerned council or board. Therefore, course outcome attainment for an institute which is governed centrally by any board or by any university, the course outcome attainment should be limited within the internal examinations. Therefore, the question papers that are set for the internal examinations are to be mapped with the COs, are to be based on the COs. And of course, CO-wise full marks and marks obtained by the students should be recorded for flawless calculation of attainment. So this is the scheme of the question paper. This is a model scheme. Teachers may actually use or follow this particular scheme for preparing their question papers for the internal examination. Here, theory paper has been given for the example, where the internal evaluation has been subdivided into internal assessment, assignment, viva quiz, attendance, and course end survey. So these are the components of internal evaluation process. And the teacher has to assign some COs, particularly for all the components. For example, I have shown that in the internal assessments, CO1, CO2, CO3, have been assigned, and for assignment, the CO4 have been selected. For attendance, we are not actually supposed to consider the COs. For the course end survey, a questionnaire is to be presented to the students after the course, which covers all the COs. So next is the question number. That is CO1, or question number 1 was based on CO1, question number 2 was based on CO2, question number 3 was based on CO3, and such like. Similarly, for assignment, question number 1 or question number 2 was based on CO4. It is important because we need to record, we need to keep in mind for the full marks we assign for the COs. It is with the COs we shall be dealing with, not the question marks or etc. Because the questions are based on the COs, framed on the COs, so we need to consider how much marks we have assigned for all the COs or for each CO. So for example, I have shown here that in that particular exam, CO1, it had 10 marks as its full marks, CO2 had 5 marks, and CO3 had 5 marks, and assignment 5 plus 5, the 10 marks were assigned for from CO4. So this is how the question paper scheme has to be built before the commencement of each semester. Now this is the computation. For internal assessment, this is a particular chart or a list. It shows 10 students, the statement of marks of 10 students in a particular internal assessment of any course. For in CO1, which has full marks 10, student 1 gets 7. In CO2, which had 5 full marks, the student gets 5 out of 5. In CO3, the student 1 scores 1, and CO4, the student 1 scores 6. So similarly, the marks statements, CO-wise marks statements of all the students, it has been recorded in this particular chart or the table. Now we shall go for the attainment part. As if we can remember that we have already fixed the attainment levels, that level 1 is if 50% students get equal or more than 50% marks. Level 2 was if 60% students get equal or more than 50% marks. Level 3 was 70% of our students if they get equal or more than 50% marks. Therefore, when we calculate, come to CO1, what is the situation here? In CO1, we find that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 students have scored equal or more than 50% marks. Therefore, invariably, the level of attainment for CO1 will be 3. In CO2, we also find the similar situation, that is more than 5 students, that is the 50% of the students, or more than 7 students, that is 70% of the students scored more than 50% marks. Therefore, for this CO, the attainment level will also be 3. In CO3, what is the situation? Here we find that level 2 attainment has been achieved. Because here only 60% students, they got equal or more than 50% marks. In CO4, the situation is a little different. Here no student, that is 5 students, they could not get, at least 5 students, they could not get equal or more than 50% marks. Therefore, there is the attainment level for CO4 will be 0. So we must understand once again this process, that CO-wise attainment is important for calculation of the attainment of the entire course. And this, first of all, the attainment levels are to be set by the program people, and then as course teachers, we are to assign the attainment levels for each of the COs we have selected. For end semester examination, how can we calculate the marks or the attainment level? This is important because since for some states the end semester examination is conducted by an external body, maybe by the university or by the council or by the state board, it is quite difficult to understand how much marks the student has got in the end semester examination. The situation becomes more complex if the marks they are published in terms of grades. But we are to formulate a particular method for converting the grades into marks. An example has been shown here. Let's take the example of student 1. The full marks for the course was 100 in the end semester examination, that is the entire examination including the internal and the external exam, the student has obtained AB grade. Now we are to convert the AB grade into some marks. So we are to calculate a grade equivalent marks system. That means AB, it is actually a range. It defines a range maybe from 91 to students obtaining 81 to 19% marks, they get AB grade. Therefore, we can set a mean or an average for the whole range. That means the student who gets AB, he gets 85 in total in the entire 100 marks. And then we have the internal marks recorded, that is 31 for the student number 1. Therefore, by deducting 31 from 85, we can get only the end semester examination marks. For student 2, the similar formula has been applied. He gets AA grade. We understand that AA grade means a range of marks between 91 to 100. So we take the mean, that is 95. We have the record of his internal marks, that is 37. So 95 minus 37 is 58 is what he has got in the end semester examination only. So we must remember that CO-wise attainment for the end semester exam is not required, since we do not know who set the question papers or who marked the answer papers, what sort of weightage is put on each CO, etc. So CO-wise calculation or CO-wise attainment is not necessary for the examinations which are conducted centralized in a centralized process by a state board or a council or a university. So the marks our students have got only in the end semester examination is 54, 58, 45, 40, 47, 43, 57, 43, 39 and 40. That means all of the students scored more than 50% marks only in the end semester examination. So for this end semester examination, the level of attainment is obviously 3. We shall move on to the calculation. So for calculation of CO attainment, this is the formula that has been given for internal evaluation. That is sum of all CO attainments divided by the number of COs. That means we had 4 COs as we have shown previously, and in the COs we have the attainment levels. For CO1 we had 3, CO2 we had 3, CO3 we had 2, and CO4 we had 0 as attainment level, and the number of COs is 4. Therefore, the simple formula is 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 divided by 4. It comes to 2. So in the internal evaluation, the attainment of the entire course is 2. Now, for the end semester examination, just we have seen earlier that the attainment level is 3. Suppose from the course end survey, we generate an attainment level of 3 from the students. That is, by supplying the students with a questionnaire after each course and calculating the marks, the scores they give themselves, we arrive at the attainment level of 3 from the course and survey. So we can sum up like this. This is the formula. So look at it carefully. That is 2 into 0.4 plus 3 into 0.6 into 0.8 plus 3 into 0.2 is the formula. Let me make it clear. 2 into 0.4, because in the internal evaluation scheme for a theory paper, it may be the case that 40% weightage is given by the council or by the university. It may vary state-wise. Similarly, in the end semester examination, 60% weightage is given. So, therefore, we multiply the attainment level that we get from the internal evaluation with 0.4 to get the 40% of 40% of 2, and we multiply 3 with 0.6 to get the 60% out of the attainment level 3. And why 0.8? Because in our previous slide we have seen that this is the direct examination process which contains 80% weightage. So the entire internal plus end semester attainments should be multiplied by 0.8 to get the 80% out of the same, and from course end survey we are to get 20%, that is 20% weightage has been given. So the formula is self-explanatory, you can understand. So this is how the calculation goes. This is a step-by-step calculation that has been shown, and for the entire course, the CO attainment, the total CO attainment for the course comes up as this 2.68. So from the calculations, that is giving the proper weightage to the all the components of the assessment tools, this figure has been arrived at. So very precisely, this is the attainment or entire CO attainment for the course. So we shall stop with this. In our next video, we shall try to compute the PO attainment levels from the CO attainment figures. Thank you.